Hey there, Friday night movie fans. You know, sometimes when you start chatting with your sibling and you're having a great conversation and then you realize you haven't actually started the podcast episode yet? Well, that's essentially what this episode is. Lily and I started talking before we started an episode the other day. We enjoyed the conversation so much that just going to release it. We talk about a bunch of different things. Netflix's Good Girls, my odyssey in deciding whether or not I'm going to watch the TV show Parenthood, and a whole bunch of other things. So sit back and enjoy.
So you need to get rid of that car for you.
So speaking of crimes, have you seen Good Girls yet with Retta?
Yes, I have. Not like the whole show, but I've seen it.
We're a few episodes in.
It's fun.
I don't really love the structure plot of that type of show, like suburban people getting in deeper and deeper and deeper.
Right.
But the performances, especially of Retta, are
exactly
amazing. So I keep watching it because they are so good, these actors. And
oh yeah, the three of them are fantastic. Three main characters, which is Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, and Retta. And who plays Mae Whitman's like ex-husband? Do you remember?
Is it Sarensen?
Is it Sarensen? Right.
Yeah,
and I think
it's Matt Sarensen from, I mean, who knows what his real name is, but
it doesn't matter. That is his real name. It's Friday Night Lights, Matt Sarensen,
by the way, why don't we see more of him? I love that guy.
Why is he like in the fucking Purge 2 and then he's never seen again?
Yeah. I'm not okay with that.
I don't get Number 2, I had a hard time buying that he's like the shittiest husband because I love him so much. So
I don't think he's a bad husband. That's actually I think
her ex-husband is just kind of like torturing her. I don't know. I was like,
no, I think he's like he has his life more together than her. And
maybe I need to just see it on a different angle. Like
no, maybe he is. I honestly, it's because I don't remember.
He is like fighting with her about custody. It doesn't seem very collaborative, and I think that's one of the reasons that leads her to a life of crime. Is that like she's struggling to like make sure she gets to keep her kid. I was just like, I'm not sure I can watch a show where Matt Sarensen's an asshole. That's just like a weird criteria.
Well, that's it. Maybe in my mind, because it's Matt Sarensen, I just found rationalizations why he was like totally fine.
That could be it. So
like
maybe
he wasn't a bad person.
And maybe he will be like, maybe the story evolves and he becomes good. Because I think you're making a mistake as a casting director if you are going to make him a bad guy.
I think in that show, the bigger chance of redemption is with Matthew Lillard's character, Christina Hendricks' husband.
Yeah.
I think there's a Donnie and Allison potential there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's just like a loser, but there's a little bit of a Donnie and Allison potential there.
Yeah, I never brought that show up, but I definitely, because it's one of the stuff I get that on Netflix here, because I don't always get the same shows as you guys, and I was like, that seems like a fun thing while you're cooking.
So I don't know how far you've gotten into it, but have you gotten into the part where they're in the church and the husband gets up and makes the speech, Retta's husband gets up and makes the speech thanking people for the mystery money that they got because he assumes that it was someone from the church as to why they have all the money they have?
I haven't seen that part.
To help their daughter. Anyways, that whole little story with Retta and how she handles the fact that some other person in the church gets up and takes credit for it.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so how she copes with that, I think it's either over one episode or 2 episodes.
Oh, I have seen that. No, I have seen that. Yeah, that is great. Yeah.
When she gets up and she signs the woman up for like 10 more things that she's going to do. It's amazing.
I'm just very excited about the fact that, she's a predominant character on another great show. Good enough. No, it's no Parks and Rec, but like a show that's been renewed for like 3. It's like in the 3rd season. It's renewed again this year. I'm pretty sure.
And what's really amazing about it is that she was obviously hilarious in Parks and Rec, but but she's got to do some serious drama on this show, and I really like her. So, okay, let me. So she is someone who has bits. She has sort of little tricks she uses to be funny, right? The way she responds to things, the way she deadpans things, right? But some actors, when they do that, when they're doing a dramatic role, it takes me out of the role. Whereas her in this role, it's so much more complete. Like I don't get taken out of it when she does her funny bits. I'll give you an example. So Adam Sandler has done some. This is just one that popped in my head. He's done some more dramatic roles, and those are really good. And then every once in a while he'll do one of his like voices, and you're like, oh, it's Happy Gilmore. Right. And whereas Retta, I feel like in this show, that doesn't happen. To me, it's just there's more dimensions to her, and it's as simple as that. And I really love her in it. She's the, and I love Mae Whitman, who plays I love Mae Whitman, but because Mae Whitman basically can do no wrong for me, because she was the voice of Katara on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, she's in Parenthood, which you're about to delve into. So.
I'm about to delve into Parenthood. So
she plays a bratty teenager.
So here's the story. Here's the story with me in Parenthood. So everyone knows about my Gilmore Girls Odyssey. I'm now in season 2, episode 2 or 3. And there's two groups of people that have got me into Gilmore Girls. There's the official tradesies that I've done with a friend. And then there's, of course, Jackie Geary and Lons and Ash.
You're like Twitter audience.
That's like my Twitter buddies. Those are my they're like my guide. They're like my Twitter guides through the universe, because whenever I see something absurd, like I put something on Instagram yesterday, absurd or I have questions when I do my end of season power rankings. That was what I did. I don't know if you saw my thread, but I ranked like 13 characters from like worst to best or best to worst. So they're the ones I do that with. So this other friend, though, we have done a tradesy with Chuck and Gilmore Girls, which has been, effective. Like, you want to have a good tradesies partner, and this person watched Chuck. And now we have another tradesy, which is I'm watching Happy Endings, and she's watching Riverdale.
On TV.
She's watching Riverdale. And there's one more trade that is being done, and we got into a conversation about Lauren Graham, and it led to a conversation about Parenthood. And I said, I don't watch like crying shows. That's not my thing.
Right. You don't watch Grey's Anatomy.
Exactly. And I mean, Grey's Anatomy is a little bit different than a simple crying show, because it's like a borderline sci-fi
right.
show.
I warned you. I said this show's a drama.
Yeah. And so then I started, so I made the case against watching it, and then she was like, no, you really got to watch it. I will do a tradesies with you. And I was like, I'm like, you have to understand, there's a high bar for something I don't want to watch. It's not simply show for show, as simple as this. You need to give me something that's really worth it to me. Like when I watched Black Mirror for my sister, she had to watch a whole season of Chuck.
Yeah, for reals.
And so we talked.
I forget if you liked the episode of Black Mirror now or not.
It was fine. It was like weird dating app humor. I mean, dark humor.
Right, yeah.
And it didn't make me want to watch more Black Mirror. And so this friend and I, we discussed. So we started discussing Parenthood, and I was making the case against why I don't watch shows like that. But then I pulled up the cat. I said, oh, well, I know one of the actors, the guy who was in Sports Night, Peter Krause, he was in it.
I love it.
That's kind of a plus. So I put on the cast list, and I said, oh, Craig T. Nelson, huh? That's interesting. And then I saw Mae Whitman, and I said, oh, man, Mae Whitman's in this? Because she was the voice of Katara. I will always support anything Mae Whitman's in. And then, of course, Dax. And then Emily Christensen, who's fake Julia Stiles. She's in it. And so I'm looking at this, and I said, okay. This is a little more intriguing. Maybe I'm willing to do a trade. And then I said, the movie...
She's not Emily Christensen. She's something Christensen.
Erica Christensen.
Yeah.
Exactly,
something. I'll check.
Fake
But
Julia
whatever.
Stiles.
Fake Julia Stiles.
And so then I start talking about the movie, which is a classic. Like, to me...
Yeah, but this has nothing to do with the movie.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. The 1989 movie with Steve Martin, to me, is one of my favorite, like, greatest movies ever. And every time I watch it, I, like, learn more about life. Ron Howard, kind of at his best. And I don't know if you remember this, but that movie came out, I think it's 89. You, me, and Becky went to the movie theater to see that with Cheryl, the teacher babysitter, when Mom and Dad were out of town. Think about that movie.
Cheryl, if you're listening, you were the worst babysitter.
And the jokes that were in that movie were, like, when you think about it, that we were little kids and we saw that. It's like I don't know if it's an R-rated movie, but it's
not the worst babysitter because she took us to see that movie because it's amazing. The movie's amazing, but in general, not a good babysitter.
But
89, yeah. So I was 7.
So
Becky was 5. You have 10 maybes skated by on watching this movie. I don't know what it's rated. It's definitely not for 5-year-olds.
It's not.
It's PG. It's PG-13.
Okay, so you could go with an adult.
I mean, but it's suggested that you go with an adult if you're older than 13, like around 13 and up.
Oh, that's what it is? I thought it was if you're under 13, you need an adult.
I don't think that's correct.
Anyways, there's like vibrator jokes, and there's the whole...
that you're gonna like misconstrue one of the magic things of this movie is that it has Diane Weiss, and she's in Life in Pieces, and I think she's like a key magic to that show. There's no Diane Weiss in Parenthood, the show.
So hold on a second. So Diane Weiss is Oscar winner Diane Weiss, like multiple Oscar winner Diane Weiss. She's amazing. So then I said, oh, okay, well maybe it's different. Well, let me tell you about the movie, and we'll see if there's similarities. And I said, okay, so in the movie, there's an older sister played by Diane Weiss who's divorced and who has a teenage, like a bratty teenager that she's trying to cope with dating, and it explores her dating life and the kids' life. Yeah. So then they were like, oh, okay, that's Lauren Graham. I'm like, okay. And their last name is Buckman. Their last name is Braverman on Parenthood, the show. And I said, okay, then there's another sibling that's played by Steve Martin. I'm assuming that's Peter Krause, who's married and has at least one kid with special needs. And it's like a good marriage, but there's stress on their life, whether it's finances or life or other things. And then they said, yeah, that's Peter Krause. And then I said, okay, well then there's another sibling who is married to super type A Rick Moranis, and they said, oh, it's a gender flip in the show because the sister...
it's fake Julia Stiles.
Fake Julia Stiles is the anal one. Oh, okay. And they said, and then in the movie, there's a sort of, bad brother or like irresponsible brother played by Tom Hulse, from Amadeus and Animal House. And they said, oh yeah, that's Dax. And I said, well, I imagine like the guy in the movie is a bad guy, like he is not good. And they said, no, Dax has a...
Yeah, because it's like I mean, he's got issues, but it's not like he's like a gambling addict criminal like in the movie.
And then I said Jason Robards plays this father that's really, really, really rough and kind of old-fashioned, and they said, oh yeah, that's Craig T. Nelson. So I said, okay, well, so after they told me that whole story, I was like, okay, echoes of the original movie here, but with like a longer character arc.
This is the key word because it's
And then Bonnie Bedelia, star of Die Hard and Presumed Innocent, plays the mom, the grandma. So all of these things, I said, okay, so I'm willing to do a trade. And
then there's Keanu and Martha Plimpton.
Oh yeah, well, but there's no Keanu and Martha Plimpton in the show, but I'm just saying young Keanu. Maybe there is in the story as it unfolds. But so I said, okay, these are all things that work in favor of the show, but still it's a genre of show that I absolutely refuse to watch. So you have to watch a show from a genre that you hate. What's a genre that you hate? And this person said, I really, really don't like hardcore sci-fi. And I said, okay, well, there's two
That's
shows
not
that...
fair, because then they're gonna love Orphan Black.
Right.
Because
So I
Orphan
gave...
Black is just so good. Like, you can't. I don't care.
So
what you like
had you know that was my... So I said, I gave her two options.
Because that's the only show that you could recommend where you'd win. This is a competition. This is not actually about watching these shows. Now it's who's gonna win, and you're gonna win.
So I gave two options. I said Orphan Black or Fringe, because I said Orphan Black. That's why I said Orphan Black's almost unfair, because it is one of the best shows I've ever seen.
And it's sci-fi, but it's so much about the characters, whereas Fringe is sci-fi about the characters, but really sci-fi.
Right. So I said either of those. I said Fringe will be a tougher experience for you, but I think it's a great show. Orphan Black is like on another level, and it also happens to be sci-fi. And so she agreed that she was going to watch the pilot of Fringe and of Orphan Black and just decide which one she's going to follow, which I think is kind of a fair...
Sure, but it's going to be Orphan Black. Duh.
Yeah, so anyways, but I think that's cool, because anytime you have the opportunity to get someone to watch Orphan Black in particular, I feel like you've made a major achievement, because that is really one of my favorite shows ever. And
I mean, here's the thing, is that Parenthood is good, but it's not about good or bad. It's about, like, there is a type of genre. Like, I can't watch the NCIS shows. Like, Mom loves those type of shows.
I
don't
love
care
watching
about
them with Mom.
Sure, but, like, I'm just saying, I'm not going to go and be, like, so excited that, like, another season of Bones is on DVD or whatever the fuck people who watch that show say. Like, those aren't, like, procedural shows aren't my thing, like, on the weekly ones, except Grey's Anatomy. It doesn't count, because it's a drama. And so, if you're, like, whether Parenthood is good or not, like, you're at some point, they're schmaltz, right? It's like a This Is Us.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's not
like,
my kind of show.
You know, let's see if you like it, though. It's well done.
I'm willing to. It's only 5 seasons too, so I feel like that's. We're not talking like watching Supernatural, which is 15 seasons long. Although I hear that's a cool show.
You only traded 1 season, right?
No, show for show.
Whole show?
Well, if I don't like it, I'll stop in the middle, I guess, and we'll annul the tradesy. But I feel like. I feel like when you have a good trading partner, like you still never watched Avatar Airbender. You were supposed to watch it for some other thing a long time ago.
No, I don't think there was ever a tradesies. You just wanted me to watch it. What would I have traded it for?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, I'll think something. Don't you worry. That's something for you to watch.
So that's the story with that. Do you want to talk about Billions at all? Since we're sort of.
I mean, I do, but I do want to talk about Billions, but I also feel like whoever's listened this far into this episode is enjoying it, and I don't want them to turn the episode off. Okay. So I feel like, whereas if we just do a separate Billions episode... You think they're enjoying
my long explanation as to why I would watch Parenthood?
I think they are. And I think that a separate Billions episode could be its own little nugget, and, like, you're either into it or you're not. You know? I feel like you wrote so many questions in the notes for the season 3, like, half of Stranger Things, that, like, there's no way, like, with you and Becky can answer all of these. So since we're dividing up today, let's go through a few of them.
All right. So why don't you
kick off the Stranger Things?
My only fear is that, so we're taping this first. I don't know how it'll end up in the episode, but, like, if I tell Becky we answered a few of the questions, she's just going to do whatever she wants in terms of answering questions.
But here's the thing, is that she can then answer the same question, just give her opinion. Like, you know what I mean? It's not going to be, it's like improv. You're not going to do the same scene twice. Exactly the same, right?
Really?
Like,
I didn't know you were such an improver.
I literally have just spent an hour on my Saturday of, like, my own, like, Lily time of watching Dan Levy and Eugene Levy interviews. They talk about with Catherine O'Hara, where they, like, go in deep into, like, their improv styles and, like, how it works. So, like, I feel like I've just done a course.
So wait, do they improv on Schitt's Creek?
They do.
It seems like that show is quite written.
It is. They were saying that they definitely film the first draft. Like, they film the scripted draft, and then they they do some, like, they'll shoot, like, the same scene, like, once or twice and kind of let them go at it and, like, go for it. And then pick and choose. But they definitely, it is written, and they definitely follow at least, like, one take of the scripted. and they'll often actors will often say like, okay, well, can I try this? Can I try that? Sometimes they say no, and then sometimes they're like, yeah, go for it. So it's like a little bit of both, but it's not, an entirely improv show like a Christopher Guest movie. But they were talking about Christopher Guest movies too. So
okay. So we'll talk a little Stranger Things. What did you say?
I'm just like super knee deep in the Schitt's Creek creation and oeuvre, exactly.
It's a masterpiece. It's a bye. So okay, so we'll jump into Stranger Things. I think what I'll talk about with Becky later is my experience going to the movies by myself for my first time ever.
And then you guys could, do a little Stranger Things too. If you guys this week went to the movies by yourselves.
But let me just tell you one thing that I'm going to bring up with Becky as well. I went to see Stuber last night by myself. The movie starring Dave Bautista and name always I never want to mispronounce because I don't want to be a jerk. Stuber starring, come on. Kumail Nanjiani. Who was hilarious. Anyways, I'll give my short review is that it delivered on its promise. It was an hour and a half, which is amazing, and it was funny. I mean, it was a stupid movie, but it was a really good Friday night movie in the sense of long week, go out, enjoy yourself, crack up. I was laughing. But the most important thing about this movie that puts it above, that makes it from like a stupid buddy comedy to brings it to another level is not only is there a whole bit in the movie about Coffee Crisp Canadian chocolate bars, literally referring to them as Coffee Crisp Canadian chocolate bars. The entire movie, Kumail is wearing a St. Viator bagel t-shirt.
Oh my God, but he's not Canadian.
No, it just must be. It must have something
Canadian
to do.
In this?
It must have something to do with that
show. That is so specific to Montreal.
The fact that there was Coffee Crisps and St. Viator bagel, and it says Montreal on it, to me, brings that movie to a whole other level. So.
Wow, the director. Somebody has to be Canadian.
Yeah, we'll go into more detail about the movie when I talk to Becky. I think we got to have. So Brian from Take Two saw the movie, and he blasted it on social media, and
terrible.
Yeah, and I went to see it anyway, and I actually
the director's from Ontario.
Oh, okay. So I really liked it, and Brian's gonna come on in a few weeks, and we'll go in deep of the movie. Because I know you wanted Brian back on the show. So.
I definitely want Brian back. For sure. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's do Stranger Things.
Okay. So
clap or whatever you have to do, so you know that I'm gonna call you back on my phone.
Okay.
Because my computer was at 45% and it went down to 10%.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was all the jokes, but I ran out of battery in 20 minutes. Makes no sense.
Do you have a plug? You don't have a plug? Does Jose not let you use electricity in your bedroom?
So I saved money.
You're using the air conditioner at the same time.
Exactly. It could be bad.
So are you calling into the same call that we're on right now, or are you going to hang up?
I'm going to try.
This has been another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. You can follow all of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram, or FridayNightMoviePod.com. You can follow Lily at Chichi K Gomez, that's ChiChiK Gomez, on Twitter. You can follow Becky at Paper BK Princess on Twitter. You can follow me at Pancake4Table, that's pancake, the number 4, and table, on Twitter and Instagram. And our theme music is by What Does It Eat? Thanks as always for listening.